NBC Movie of the Week returns following these messages.
Saturday on Diff'rent Strokes, there's disorder in student court when Judge Arnold's girlfriend calls his best friend a nerd.
Would you settle for being called a wimp?
Diff'rent Strokes. Then on Give Me a Break, the chief's in a touchy situation.
You tickled her, too?
But is it a case of sexual harassment?
I can't believe it. My father's a lech. Saturday.
Now the world don't move to the beat of just one drum. What might be right for you may not be right for some. A man is born, he's a man of means. Then along come two. They got nothing but the genes, but they got different strokes it takes. Different strokes it takes. Different strokes to move the world. Everybody's got a special kind of story. Everybody finds a way to shine. It don't matter that you got not a lot. So what? They'll have theirs and you'll have yours and I'll have mine. And together we'll be fine. 'Cause it takes different strokes to move the world. Yes, it does. It takes different strokes to move the world.
Sitcom, all ye faithful, a Christmas podcast special where I discuss 25 Christmas sitcom episodes. Please come and listen every day until Christmas. I'm sure we'll feature Fonzie, the Bradys, and Steve Urkel, Dunder Mifflin, Mayberry, and definitely Alf. We'll definitely talk about Alf. Now the world don't move to the beat of just one drum. What not to rap you, and not to rap some. Welcome back, everybody, to another thrilling episode of Sitcom, All Ye Faithful, where today we're talking about Episode 5 is... Where today we're talking about Episode 5, Season 12 of Diff'rent Strokes. Episode title, Santa's Helper, that premiered December 18th, 1982. I was a young, gorgeous 6-year-old when this show, this episode was on. I mean, this is already the 5th season of Diff'rent Strokes. It was something that was, appointment viewing for, I want to say my family, but maybe my parents just watched it because I did. I don't know if this was considered a family show or a kid's show, because it really did focus more on the kids. But then again, there's episodes where they go to the Mr. Bicycle Man, and that's not very kid-friendly, I mean, unless you're the Bicycle Man. It really was like one of those family sitcoms as a kid that I just loved, because I think this was this on at the same time as Silver Spoons with that psycho nutjob Ricky Schroeder? And it was like seeing kids who weren't rich all of a sudden being rich. In Silver Spoons even more. But in this, it was like these two kids, all of a sudden they're orphans, and they get adopted by Rich Whiteman. That's his name, right? Rich Whiteman. By Mr. Drummond. And, I don't know, was this ever considered like, oh, look at this, the white savior coming in to rescue the two black kids? Like, was that ever considered like a racist show? I don't know. Like, it never occurred to me as a kid. I'm looking at it now through adult eyes, and it's still just a sweet, heartwarming show. At least that's how I remembered it. And, watching the first episode that I've seen in probably decades. It's before, Sam gets there. Who needs Sam going, hey, Mr. D? We don't need Sam. We don't need Danny Cooksey being the new cute kid. right now, Arnold's still plenty cute. Well, that came off weird. But it's weird because Gary Coleman's already 14 years old at this point. But it's so early, 1982. Like, E.T. just came out. They had an E.T. joke. Arnold spent all his money working at his dad's corporation on an E.T. clock, which we actually saw. What else was cool in 1982? Like, Rich Mr. Drummond had a video camera, but it was one of those video cameras where you wore almost the VCR like over your shoulder. My Uncle Joe had one of those, and I distinctly remember like him holding the camera and videoing us with that thing, which is like, when you think about what's in your pocket right now in your phone, it's amazing. Thinking, and I don't know if this was considered like, oh, Mr. Drummond is rich, he owns one of those. When now, later on, anyone and everyone had video cameras, and then they got smaller, and then they became phones. Anyway, this episode is a Christmas episode, so let's focus on the Christmas stuff. The real Christmas spirit is that Arnold loves gifts. He loves buying gifts. He loves getting gifts. He wanted to. The main thrust of the episode is that he's upset that he spent all his money on that ET clock, and he has nothing to buy his family gifts. No money left. So he goes and just kind of wanders the shopping area of New York City, and comes across a Santa doing, ringing a bell for charity, and it's played by the legendary Garrett Morris. He's been around forever. I was like, they didn't give him applause, even like that's not that much. Like Saturday Night Live was just a couple years before this that he was on that. You'd think he would have been like, oh, Garrett Morris, special guest, but I don't know. So he is the Santa ringing the bell, and he's like, what's wrong, little boy? And he's like, oh, nothing. I can't get, I can't buy anything for my family. He goes, oh, it's tough. You live in the hood? He's like, no, I live on Park Avenue. He's like, oh, interesting. Like, and you don't have money? No, I spent all the money I made at my dad's corporation. He's like, your dad owns a corporation? He's like, yes. He goes, he says something like, I didn't know brothers did that. And he's like, well, no, my father and my sister are white. He's like, oh, I see. He goes, well, I have an idea for you. And he gets him a little Santa outfit. I don't know where the hell he got the little Santa outfit, but all of a sudden Arnold's out there ringing the bell too. And he's making a little money here and there. Mr. Drummond happens to walk by. He's like, what are you doing out here? He goes, oh, Santa here. Mr. Jones is helping me out. He gave me a job. He's like, oh, is that so? That's great. Hey, Mr. Claus, Mr. Jones, maybe you could help me out with something. So he hires Mr. Claus to come and deliver presents to the kids. He got them each a present that they were going to open on Christmas Day. Now, Mr. Drummond, Philip Drummond, is rich, and he bought each kid one gift. I feel like, I don't know, maybe that's me, but like, I felt like I used to get like maybe a good sized gift and then little trinkets, little things. And he just got each of them one gift, which is fine. It's fine. Who am I to point my finger on how Mr. Drummond spends his money? So, Garrett Morris is like, this is a great house you have here. Thank you so much for having me. He paid him. He's like, very gracious. Hope you have a wonderful Christmas. And he puts a little goop on the door to keep the door from locking. Comes back later in the middle of the night, and with two elves, these two like store elves, I don't know, guys dressed up as elves, and they rob the place. And I'm like, and then again, I'm looking at it through 2021 lenses. Like, of course they have the African American Santa's got to rob the place, but his two elves were white, so there was diversity on the burglary team. So there you go. So they wake up the next day, and all the gifts have been stolen. Not only that, the tree was stolen, silverware has been stolen, all kinds of stuff's been stolen. And Mr. Drummond's like, everything's insured, that's fine. They go, they also took your video camera. And he's like, I'll kill him. And it was a big laughable moment. So Arnold goes back to work. He's like, well, I guess I might as well go to help the orphans. And he's like, I'm here to help Mr. Santa Claus. He's like, why are you so upset? He goes, well, someone stole all our gifts. He goes, oh, wow, that's awful. He goes, sometimes people are don't have what other people have, and the only way to get them is to take them. They probably just didn't have anything. And Arnold's like, that's not right, though. My parents, my real mom and dad, they didn't have anything, and they never resorted to this. He goes, well, it sounds like you had some good parents. Not everyone did. He's like, yeah. He goes, they took all my gifts except for the one I got you. And he pulls out a little gift, and he gives them a little tie clip. And that made the Grinch's heart grow. And Garrett Morris was like, oh, thank you very much. That's the nicest gift I've ever gotten. And then we see the next day, Christmas morning. Oh, no, later on Christmas Day, they're having dinner. And they're all talking about what they would have got each other. And so this is when Mr. Drummond's like, well, Arnold, I got you a train set, which is very funny because later on you do see Arnold using a train set. And Gary Coleman was like a huge model train fan, so I wonder if this was the start of it. He's like, damn it, I want that train. I want that train, Drummond. He said, Kimberly, I got you a ski outfit, and Todd and Willis, I got you a razor so you can start shaving. And I was like, that's it? And he got Pearl, because Mrs. Garrett's already gone. He's got Pearl, the housekeeper, an electric blanket. She's like, ooh, electric blanket. That's almost as good as having a husband in there. He's like, look, I can get you the blanket. I can't help you fill it. Boom. Sex talk in front of the children. All of a sudden, there's a ring at the door, and they go, and everything's back. All the gifts, the tree, and then there's a note that says, all your silverware and your stereo equipment is in a garage on the corner of this and this. Better hurry, because the place has a lot of burglaries. We cut back to Santa, Garrett Morris, again out there ringing his bell, and Philip Drummond confronts him. And he's like, hey, I know what you did. He goes, but I'm not going to press charges because it's Christmas and because you helped out Arnold. I'm not going to do that. I brought everything back. He goes, I didn't do it. Oh, wait, I did. I brought it back. And then, he kind of admits it. And he's like, no, thank you very much for doing this, but you have to go on the straight and narrow. He's like, otherwise, I'm coming for you. It's like, all right, Mr. Drummond, thank you. And he goes, Mr. Drummond. And then he shows that he stole his watch. He's like, I'm sorry. Here's your watch. And Mr. Drummond says, keep it. He didn't say keep it. He gave it back to him. He's like, Merry Christmas. And then Garrett Morris is like, oh, and he starts singing a Christmas song. What was it? We wish you a Merry Christmas. And then it cuts to the ending credits, where it's the whole cast singing We Wish You a Merry Christmas. Now, they're not singing it like it's just the audio of them over a picture of them all smiling. But I tried to get the audio of it. I couldn't, unless, of course, I magically do, and then you hear it right now. But if you didn't hear it, then I didn't get it. That's the episode. That's it. There's only, I go on IMDb, they really only highlight 6 people in the cast. Conrad Bain, that's Philip Drummond. It's when you look at who's no longer with us. Conrad, half the cast is no longer there out of the 6 people. Gary Coleman passed away. Dana Plato passed away. Conrad Bain passed away. Conrad Bain died in 2013. He actually outlived Gary Coleman and Dana Plato. Gary Coleman died in 2010, and Dana Plato died in 1999. My goodness, she didn't even know about Y2K. Okay, that was very crude. But my goodness, I can't believe it's been that long. Well, we still have Todd Bridges, Garrett Morris, and Mary Jo Catlett, who played Pearl Gallagher, who I feel like most kids nowadays, if they hear that voice, they're like, oh my God, she's on SpongeBob. So, she's been doing voices for years. And finding this episode, that was a little tricky. So every episode, so I shouldn't say every episode because this is what I'm going to tell you. Diff'rent Strokes is streaming on Amazon Prime, except this episode isn't there. Diff'rent Strokes is also streaming on the Roku channel, except this episode isn't there. I don't know if it's because they sang Joy to the World, and that's like a trademark, and they couldn't get it. They couldn't clear that song. I don't know if it's the E.T. thing. Sometimes these shows, it could be licensing. It could be something they couldn't clear as far as, using something. But it was really, the only song was Joy to the World. So I don't know. I don't know why it's not there, but there are always ways to find it. And the version I found, actually, it looks like it was recorded off of BET. They also said it was on the Stars channel. I couldn't find it there at all. But it probably, again, this episode probably would have been missing. So this one looks like it was DVR'd off of BET, and there was one little, or it could have been a VCR. That's how the quality wasn't, HD or even good quality. But it was definitely like a live viewing, because at one point when it came back from commercial, it was like 1 second of a commercial. So I don't know when it was taken off. I think the BET was in the box of not in the lower right corner. So maybe it was before HD even. I don't know. I'm not sure. Could have been. So that makes me think maybe it was a VHS recording that was then later digitized. Who knows? I just know that I was glad to watch it. And I've watched 2 shows from the 60s, one show from the aughts, is that what they call it, the 2000s, and one episode from the 80s. So I still haven't done the 70s and the 90s, and it's not like that's not really what this is about, covering all the decades. But I will watch a show from the 70s, and I will watch a show from the 90s. That just is logical. But I think that's it. I think I covered everything I wrote down here. Yeah, I just thought Garrett Morris should have got applause, from the fake or live studio audience, whichever one it was. So with that, I say we did it. 4 days down, 21 days to go. I'm enjoying this, and I look forward to doing more. I look forward to having some guests on in the coming weeks. And I hope you stick with me, and I hope it's easily digestible. 10, 15 minutes talking about old shows. Right now I'm on my lunch break, and I'm taking the end of my lunch break to talk about the show. And, yeah. And you're going to say, wait a second, Mike. December 4th is on a Saturday. Why do you have a lunch break? The power of editing, which means, I told you already, this isn't a daily challenge where I'm watching a show every day, talking about it every day. This is I just want to do 25 shows. Whether I get them all done, because I'm not going to be doing this Christmas morning, but you're going to hear from me Christmas morning. Hopefully I'll be done well before Christmas and just putting these shows out for my millions and millions of fans all over the world, and a few fans on other planets, which I'm sure someday you'll be listening to this from. I got nothing. I had a nice big salad, and now I got to get back to work. So remember those words. The world don't move to the beat of just one drum. Good night, everybody. Merry Christmas, and here is my theme song. This is my podcast. I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe, 'cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode. Fans, not experts.